Hello and welcome to EHC-TV, and this is Chandler Foster with your news interview. And when you graduate from a university, that doesn't mean that you are done with a university. They have alumni, and a lot of universities have alumni clubs or alumni events. Joining me on set now is Alumni Director Monica Hoel to talk about the alumni events of this great university. Thank you for joining me, Monica.
Well, thank you, Chandler, for having me on the show today.
All right. Well, first, talk about how did you get the role as Alumni Director, and what are some things that you do in this role?
Well, how I got it was just plain lucky. There's just no other way around it. I had an opportunity. I started at Emory & Henry in the admissions office, and I had an opportunity to move up into the advancement office and the alumni office, and I jumped at it because it looked like a lot of fun. Turns out it really was. And as people who were in that position migrated out, I had the opportunity to take over as the alumni director, and I've done that since about 1991. And it's been fantastic. I get to meet some of the most wonderful people in the world, and that, of course, being Emory & Henry alumni.
Well, as an alumni director, what are your goals for the college? What are the university? What are your goals for alumni events?
The short of it is we want alums to feel connected to each other and to their alma mater. So that's really what that boils down to. So we provide opportunities for them to see their friends, and also to make new friends who also went to Emory & Henry. And also we want to give people the chance to stay connected and in touch with what's going on back at the university, what the news is, what's going on, who the president is, what the students are doing. Our alums love knowing what you all are doing as students, because we have such pride in the place, and they just get really excited to hear about what's going on in student lives.
What is your idea of a successful alumni event, would you say?
If people leave smiling, and if people leave better informed about Emory & Henry, and if people leave feeling like this is a place they'd like to keep on loving and supporting, then I think that's a successful event. And I have a personal affection for the term lifelong learning, so we do a lot of events where people get to continue to learning through Emory & Henry. So if people leave saying, I didn't know about that, or this is so cool to learn about that, and Emory & Henry has a connection to that aha moment, then that's a successful day for me.
Well, now, this past Thursday, we had an event. We had Charter Day. Talk a little bit about your role in Charter Day, and, well, first of all, what that is, and your role in getting that all planned out.
Oh, that was a fun day. That's always a fun day. Charter Day celebrates the day when Emory & Henry was granted its official charter as a college or as an institution from the state of Virginia. It's kind of like a Founder's Day, but it's really more about celebrating that moment when we were official, when we were bona fide. And so Charter Day, we do this every year, and every year we get to present alumni awards, and so that's where I get to help out. We honored 5 different people who were honored by the Alumni Council, and every year they highlight some of our brightest and best alums, and we get to tell the story of the great things they're doing in the world.
Well, how much do you personally enjoy watching the reactions of the recipients?
Oh gosh, it's the best ever. We had a fellow this time, I think he cried the whole weekend he was here. It meant so much to him to come back and to get to be back at the place where his education started, and to celebrate that moment for him, and then to be honored by the school that he loves. It just meant a lot. So it means the world to get to bring them back. And one of the things that we've started doing that we really, really enjoy is getting those alumni honorees to interact with students. So Dr. Beverly Clark spoke with some science majors, or some like chemistry and biology majors. Lake and Brooks talked with some English majors. Bill Williams did a lyceum to talk about his work with conservation. So it's really cool to get to see them all interacting with each other.
Well, now talk a little bit about commencement and what's going on with that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're looking for some volunteers for that. So I hope that somebody listening to your show today might want to call me and volunteer. We started this thing several years ago called Robe and Ready. And it's where we have alumni come back for commencement to help students get dressed for commencement. You know, frankly, all the robes and the stoles and the hats and all that stuff, it's a little confusing. So alums are there to help people get situated and looking good before they go walking across the stage, and it's a lot of fun.
Now, what should people do after they graduate to stay involved with the university and be aware of some of these nice alumni events?
That is a great question, and I think people can find lots of different ways to stay involved and stay in touch. It might be as simple as making sure your information is up to date so that we can be in touch with you. It might be as simple as opening your email that comes from Emory and Henry so that you can read all the updates and see what's going on. It might be making a $5 gift to the annual fund to support the place that gave us our start. It might be coming to a tailgate or an event coming up like Emory and Henry in the City, which is coming up very soon at the end of next month. It might be volunteering for Robe and Ready. So there are just a lot of ways that you can be involved. You could recruit a student. Maybe you know somebody in your neighborhood who would be a good student for Emory and Henry. There are tons of ways that you can be involved. Maybe you want to come back and speak to a class like these honorees did. So just a lot of different ways that you can stay in touch and keep those ties to Emory and Henry fresh and meaningful.
Well, tell us a little bit about Emory and Henry in the City.
This maybe was the quickest turnaround for from an event to a tradition that I've ever seen. Basically, it's a worldwide happy hour. So on Friday, April the 25th, people in cities all over the place will gather with friends and with neighbors they haven't met yet, and they'll enjoy a cocktail together, and they'll get to know each other and just spend some time getting to know their neighbors who are Emory and Henry graduates. Some people live in places where they don't have any other alums they can gather with, so they'll just raise a cocktail and take a picture and send it in and say, here I am in Peoria, and so count me as part of the fun tonight. And so last year we had about 500 people who checked in one way or the other over the course of the evening, which is pretty good for a place our size.
Now, I understand that you're retiring at the end of this year.
It's true, and I'm very sad about that.
You want to tell me a little bit about what brought that on and what made you decide that, and some of what you'll be doing after you leave the university?
Well, this year marks 40 years that I've worked at Emory and Henry. Now, I know, Chandler, it doesn't sound like I'm that old, but I am that old. But this year was 40 years, and it seemed like a really good opportunity to make that sort of a jumping off point. So as sad as I am to be leaving the position, you know, it'll be so exciting to see someone new come in with fresh ideas and cool ways of doing things and new programs and new events. And so I'm excited to see what happens next. As for what happens for me, that'll be part of the adventure. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens.
Well, we will celebrate your retirement at Emory and Henry in the City.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've accidentally thrown myself a rather large going away party, so I hope you'll come.
Now, one last question before we wrap up. I'd like for you to briefly talk about your radio show that you do on our campus radio station, the Duck Pond Wall. Could you briefly describe
that has been maybe one of the most fun things I've ever gotten to do, because it's a little outside my comfort zone to be on the radio, but it has been a ton of fun. And each week I interview a graduate of Emory and Henry, and we talk about something that they're doing in the community or what their job is or a project that they're doing, and it has been just the greatest thing in the world. So I do a little interview with them for the radio station, put up a little story about them on the website, and if you're a student looking for ways to think about how you might use your degree, you might look through those stories on the website and just see if any ideas come to mind, because our alums are doing an amazing array of good things in the world.
Well, be sure to stay involved. We've got a lot of good events coming up and get to be a part of a lot of nice things with the university.
Absolutely. And homecoming is October 18, so go ahead and put that on your calendar.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us know that, and thank you for joining us today, Monica.
Thank you, Chandler. I'm honored to be here and be with you.
For EHC-TV, this has been Chandler Foster with your news interview, and I'll see you next time.